real swiftly. This book of First Timothy chapter 6, and I'm gonna start at 19. It says, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, which is now, that they may lay hold on eternal life. You see, and that foundation, man, is this word that says, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. Because, yeah, I mean, people have been seeing the results of taking that J, and, you know, even when you mention certain things of the earth, you know, you could get a strike speaking about, you know, different HERBS, you know what I mean? And with that, it just shows you that it's all propaganda, even to the point where we got to spell things out and speak in code as we do lessons, man. But nevertheless, that just shows the famine of the word, and those who's able to get it will receive it. That's why Yahushua spoke in parables. But so this ain't really you know, the science is all propagated, you know, and you could just see the results for itself, right? The side effects people have been having and everything. This is the book of Isaiah, and then we're going to go into First Maccabees, Isaiah chapter 10. Salakia. Here it is, Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. So it reads, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to make, and Salakia, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help? And where will ye leave your glory? And so, showing right there, man, that because the scriptures in the book of Acts tell you that the Lord dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So we're the temple of the Lord. But see, all this order out of chaos, problem, reaction, solution, propaganda that these elites are trying to establish is showing, you know, that not only that they have a short time, but showing you that it's a pandemic, you know, so they can establish this whole new world order with these new restrictions and these new laws that they are passing, right? Unrighteous decrees, the scriptures say, you know, which they prescribe. That, and showing you that the Constitution wasn't written for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. They were written for these other nations, primarily the so-called white people, which are the Edomites. And it shows how in all the ancient the kingdoms that ruled in the ancient world, that these elites, or the Edomites rather, always came down to destroy our temples and destroy us as a people, as a nation, because they knew we were the biblical Israelites, right? So this is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1. We're going to start at, these are the highlights. We're going to skim through it. This First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, Alexander the Great. This was during the time of the Greco period. It says, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place, and after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied on the earth, in the earth. And they came out of them wicked root Antiochus, surname Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Scriptures say how we were sold to the Greeks. Anyway, it says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them we have had much sorrow. And that's what our people are doing now. That's why the scriptures in the book of Isaiah chapter 31 verse 1 says what? Woe to them that go to Egypt for help. I mean, it's synonymous for because we're in bondage. Word Egypt goes back to bondage. So it's going to be destruction and evil times upon them that trust in these elites, the government, the CDC, the World Health Organization, Bill Snakes, so on and so forth, right? And that's why they have all these FEMA camps set up, and people that are so-called religious are showing you that they're not having faith unto the Lord, but what? Rather going unto science and the philosophies that they're pushing out in the social media, and just submitting to these fear tactics. Why? Because they've been so comfortable in the society now that things are hitting the fan prophetically. They can't take it. You see, and you have one of the troops, one of our Jakes, right, in the military. They're saying that he was like, in the beginning he was saying that he wasn't going to take the jab or whatever, but then he said that he's going to submit to it. Why? Because it's a major L that he doesn't want to take, because he got family members, and how they're going to take away 2 paychecks, so you would end up losing a lot of money. But that just shows you where your faith is at, because the scriptures speak about the rich man. We're sacrificing everything we have here for the Lord. We don't have nothing here, man. This place is going to be destroyed. That's why the scriptures speak about storing your treasures which are in heaven, because we have a greater reward, man. So our people, even in the ancient times, they made a covenant with the heathen. They submitted themselves, right? And they basically gave in. And that's where we head into that hour of temptation. You see? So it says, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well, right? And you even had that during the time of Moses when we was in the wilderness. A lot of our people wanted to go back to Egypt because they couldn't deal with suffering. Because you're going to suffer regardless. So you might as well suffer for the Lord, for righteousness' sake. See, because these elites, doesn't matter if you give in and take that chip or the jab. Sooner or later, the Lord is going to use them to kill you. Because Yahushua is coming back anyway. So it says, and all these people that's sold out with the Olympics and these sports, the athletes, these musicians, these actors in Hollywood, they're all sold out. Scriptures say, what profit a man if he gained the whole world but loses only soul, roughly paraphrasing. Let's read on. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. So you got a lot of our people that are saying, oh, they're not going to take the J. But when martial law hits the streets, right, or if there's an economic collapse or a false flag, and they bring martial law in the streets and mandate it, people are going to, they're going to fear. Great fear is going to come upon, a lot of people, especially the women with the families, and they don't want to lose their job, and they're so comfortable in the society. They're going to get hit hard, and they're going to change their mind, as quick as they could blink. So, yeah, man, it's good. That's why Yahushua spoke about family members departing from each other, and friends fighting against friends, and mother against daughter, and father against son. A great division. So people are gonna sell out. Oh, you can't do this. This government is giving people license. They're taking away your liberty, but then they're saying, well, you could do this and that. Only if you take the J or the chip. Then people are gonna submit to that because they have that reward mechanism. Oh well, I'll be able to get my liberty back and go to the gym or work and buy and sell and travel and get medical treatment for the kids. They could go to school. So they feel like they could get that liberty back as a reward mechanism if they take, XYZ. That shall be mandated. You see? But what? That shows you the lack of faith these people are going to have. Because we rather trust in the Lord than man, as the scriptures say. Verse 14, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. That's where you get your coliseums, right? These stadiums. The bread and circus was designed for distraction. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. Because that's how we were brought over here in America from the jump. We were sold to our enemies, as the scriptures say. That's why we fled from Roman persecution onto around the Hama area, Africa, and was sold over here, in a transatlantic slave trade, also the sub-Saharan slave trade, right? But this was during the Maccabean time, man, where the Greco-Roman this was during the Greco-Roman period, and showing you how our people was in captivity. This is why they took out the Apocrypha. We're going to read a little bit more. Verse 20, jump down to 20. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt. He returned again. Matter of fact, let's jump to the point. Verse 21, and entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar, which was our customs, right? And the candlesticks of light and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels which we used for certain holy days, and they were made by real gold and silver and copper. See? So all that gold over there in England, that's not even theirs, right? It says, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessel also. He took the hidden treasures which he found. So they polluted our sanctuaries. They destroyed our scriptures, and ended up painting the likeness of the heathen. That's why even in America, so much whitewash. And you go back to the Renaissance period, you had something called iconoclasm. See, where they destroyed our images and paint the likeness of their people. You see? Let's jump down. Verse 37. We're going to read a little bit on, and then I'm going to close off. It says, verse 37, thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. Right? And real quick, this is the book of Genesis chapter 9 verse 6. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed, for in the image of God made he man. See, so who committed the first murder? Cain, during the time of Cain and Abel, and showing you that they were made as the sword, as the scriptures say, showing you which type of nation this was. Salah. Right, so Esau, these Edomites, they shed the innocent blood of the children of Israel. And they're going to have to pay for that. That's why the scriptures in Revelation say, he that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience of the saints, roughly paraphrasing. So that's the day that we're waiting for. That's going to be the real restoration, rather. Verse 38. There's so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feast were turned into mourning, her Sabbath into a reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Talking about Israel, how we were destroyed as a people, and how this particular nation, these Edomites, the Greeks, also the Romans, but we're talking about the Greeks right now, what they did to us. That's why you had the Lord rose up Mattathias, who ended up destroying them around the 3rd and 4th chapter. So let's jump down, verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, which is happening also now. They're coming up with these strange laws, these unrighteous decrees, which people are going to follow, being in submission, trusting in that a false physician, which the scriptures say they are physicians of no value, right? Rather than the Lord. It says, verse 45, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. We're going to jump down. Here it is, verse 49, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. Right? So that's their and that's why they're coming up with all these fear tactics. Oh, if you don't do this, if you don't abide by this, then you could get fined. You could go to jail up to 5 years. You're gonna get fired. So a lot of these people are getting fired or quitting their jobs. Fear tactics. And even in ancient times, our people fled to keep the laws. Our people fled to the mountains just to circumcise their children and keep certain holy days, right? To pray, so on and so forth. That's what we're doing. That's what's gonna happen. The scriptures speak about us being as pilgrims on the earth. Even if we got to get locked up, keep the faith. Because just like our forefathers kept the faith even when they were in bond, in shackles, in prison. Verse 53. We're going to read 53 to 57, close off. It says, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succors. Right? Now the 15th day of the month, Kesliu, and 145th year, they set up the abominations of desolations upon the altar and built idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side. So they basically kept this custom, this heathenistic custom, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. Burning the scriptures, right? The scrolls, and whatsoever was found with any the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. So if they found any of them with scriptures or keeping the laws, statutes and commandments, and praying and following the customs of the scriptures, that the king Antiochus made a decree, an order to put them to death. So with that being stated, I'm going to get this in the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 4, verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee. So there you go. Have faith, because we're living in a time of faith, a time of war, but our faith is really what's going to be exercising these days as we head to Jacob's trouble. You see? So keep praying unto the Lord, strive for the truth unto death. The scriptures also speak about the dead, and Yahweh shall rise first, right? So, but some might not taste of death. You know, so keep the faith, like the scriptures say, and the Lord shall fight for thee. So at the end of the day, the Most High is controlling both sides. He's orchestrating everything. You know, so don't be a sellout like our people, man. You know, keep the faith, pray, stay humble, right? Pray that the Lord give you the strength. You know, do what you gotta do. Lessons, keep the scripture, law, statutes, commands to the best of your ability, the holy days. You know, associate with brothers that's like-minded. You know, and just do what you gotta do, man. We're gonna have hurdles. We're gonna have stepping stones and stumbling blocks and, you know, these different trials and tribulations, you know, but that's all there to try you, you know, to test you. You know, it's supposed to make you stronger and grow, you know. So the Lord has to sup with you through the Spirit, so that way He can get you through this storm, right? So strive for the truth unto death, man. You know, have faith, and you know, remember what our forefathers went through. All right. But with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Till next time, Shalom.